Hey there, treasure hunters and coin collectors. Welcome back to the channel where we turn everyday pocket change into potential jackpots. Imagine this: you're grabbing a soda, digging through your wallet, and you pull out a plain-looking quarter. You think it's just worth 25 cents, right? Well, hold on to your seat because that ordinary-looking coin could be the 2017 D Clark quarter dollar worth up to $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1 million for a single quarter. Today, we're going to unpack every detail you need to know about this remarkable coin, including how to spot it, why collectors will pay insane amounts of money for it, and how you can turn your coin jar into a life-changing treasure chest. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and maybe even get inspired to check your own collection. So grab a cup of coffee or a snack, because we're about to dive deep into the story of the $1 million Clark quarter. Alright, let's kick this off by setting the scene. The Clark quarter is part of the America the Beautiful series, which started back in 2010. The program was created to honor national parks and historic sites. The 2017 D Clark issue came out of the Denver Mint. Now, while millions were made, only a microscopic fraction has this unique set of features that skyrocketed the value. The $1 million specimens usually have a dramatic mint error. Some examples include double die outbursts, severe off-center strikes, and die cap errors that create ghostly impressions. Think of it like a misprinted baseball card. The rarer and more dramatic the error, the higher the price. Even without an error, a coin can fetch astronomical sums if it's in pristine condition. We're talking MS-70, or mint state 70, meaning it has absolutely no scratches, nicks, or handling marks. Imagine a coin that looks like it just popped off the press. Those flawless coins are the crown jewels for collectors. Collectors love unique stories. The Clark quarter isn't just another piece of metal, it's part of American history. When you combine the historical importance with scarcity, it creates a perfect storm for collectors to bid up the price. First, look for the D mint mark under the word "In God We Trust" on the obverse side. That D is for Denver. Second, flip the coin over and study the reverse design. You should see the depiction of Fort Clark in the historical setting. If there's a doubling of any of the letters, a severe misalignment of the design, or unusual raised features that don't belong, you could have an error coin. I'll share a little story to illustrate how this can happen to anyone. About a year ago, I was cleaning out the junk drawer in my kitchen. You know, the one where you keep batteries, twist ties, and enough pennies to fill a swimming pool. I dumped everything onto the counter and started sorting. There was this stack of quarters, and I almost threw them straight into the coin counting machine. But something made me stop and take a closer look. I had read an article about the 2017 D Clark quarter. So I grabbed my magnifying glass, and there it was, a slight doubling on the lettering that I almost missed. I sent it off to a grading service, and while it wasn't the $1 million version, it still came back valued at a couple $1,000s. Not bad for something that was rattling around next to a broken flashlight. If you think you have a Clark quarter that could be worth serious money, here's what you do. First, don't clean it. Collectors want originality, even if there's a little grime. Second, photograph the coin in good lighting, showing both sides clearly. Third, contact a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate and grade it. Fourth, if it comes back with a high grade or error designation, it's time to talk to an auction house. Some 2017 D Clark quarters have sold for more than luxury cars. Imagine showing up at a dealership and saying, "I'd like that Corvette, please. Here's my quarter." Check bank rolls. You can still get unsearched rolls of quarters from banks. Look through change from cash-heavy businesses, like laundromats or vending machines. Visit estate sales. People often leave old coin jars behind, never realizing what's inside. Let me tell you about the time my brother thought I was losing my mind. I was at Thanksgiving dinner, and in the middle of passing the mashed potatoes, I started ranting about how I was going to find $1 million quarter. He just looked at me and said, "You're telling me a quarter can buy a mansion?" Yes, Dave. That's exactly what I'm telling you. At the time of recording this video, top-graded and rare error specimens of the 2017 D Clark quarter are commanding offers up to $1 million. That doesn't mean every coin is worth that much. Most are only face value. But if you have the right combination of error and condition, you're sitting on a fortune. Avoid touching it with bare fingers. Use cotton gloves, store it in an acid-free flip or capsule, keep it away from moisture and extreme temperatures, and maybe don't tell your neighbor who borrows things and never gives them back. You might be wondering why people are suddenly obsessed with coins. Here's the truth: collecting has become an investment strategy. In uncertain economic times, tangible assets like rare coins often hold or even increase in value. Plus, it's more fun than watching stock tickers all day. The 2017 D Fort Clark quarter dollar is living proof that hidden treasures can be anywhere, even in your spare change. With the right error, perfect condition, and a little bit of luck, you could turn that 25-cent piece into $1 million payday. If you enjoyed this video and you want more strategies on how to spot coins worth big money, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Every week, I share tips, stories, and guides to help you build your own collection and maybe even change your financial future. Drop a comment below if you have any interesting finds or questions. And remember, next time you hear someone say, "It's just a quarter," you can smile, knowing it might actually be the key to your dream lifestyle, where your pocket change could turn into life-changing money. Let me ask you a question: have you ever looked at a plain old quarter and thought, this is basically just 25 cents? Well, today, I'm going to show you how one very specific quarter, a 1994 Washington quarter with a little P mint mark, could actually be worth up to $1.1 million. Yep, you heard that right, $1.1 million bucks. That's not a typo. That's not a late-night infomercial. That's real. So if you're sitting there thinking, why the heck didn't I check my coins before buying that gas station burrito? Don't worry. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, why these coins are so rare, and how you might just have one in your change jar, your junk drawer, or even that old coffee can in the garage. Make yourself comfortable, grab a cup of coffee or maybe a stiff drink if you're feeling dramatic, and let's dive into this story of accidental millionaires, rare errors, and the little silver discs that could change your life. Let's start with the basics so everyone's on the same page. In 1994, the Philadelphia Mint, hence the P Mint mark, produced hundreds of millions of quarters. Most of them were worth exactly, well, a quarter. But a very small number have unique characteristics that set them apart. It all comes down to rarity, condition, and errors. Think of it like baseball cards. You can have the same card as everyone else, but if yours was printed upside down or has a special ink or is in pristine shape, suddenly you're sitting on a goldmine. Let's dig deeper into the nitty-gritty. There are three big factors that rocket the value of these quarters into 6 and 7 figures. Most coins get handled, tossed in pockets, or left under couch cushions. But a coin that stayed untouched, shiny, and flawless can be graded MS68 or MS69, which is the equivalent of a perfect score in the coin world. That alone can push it to tens of thousands. And now, here's where it gets spicy. Certain 1994 P quarters were struck with minting errors. Imagine the die striking the coin just a millimeter off-center. Or a double strike that leaves a ghostly outline of Washington's head. These freak accidents during minting are exactly what collectors crave. Finally, rarity plus demand equals value. When wealthy collectors want something, they don't mind throwing huge stacks of cash at it. The 1994 P quarters with the most spectacular errors are in high demand because very few survived in mint condition. All of this can combine to create a price tag that would make your grandma faint. $1.1 million. Let me take a quick detour to tell you about how I learned this the hard way. About 10 years ago, I had a shoebox full of old coins I'd inherited from my uncle. I'd look at them once in a while but never seriously. One day, I needed laundry quarters, so I grabbed a handful of coins from the box. Didn't even look at the dates. A month later, I was reading an article just like this about rare quarters. Guess which coin was listed as one of the most valuable? You guessed it, a 1994 P quarter with a double die error. I nearly flipped the couch over trying to find that shoebox. Turns out, I'd already spent that coin on washing my socks. So if you take anything away from this story, let it be this: don't spend your coins until you've checked them. Flip the coin over. You need a clear 1994 date. And look for the small p under the word "In God We Trust." That's the Philadelphia Mint. If it looks like it just rolled off the production line, shiny, no scratches, nowhere, this is good news. You might have a mint state specimen. Off-center strike, the whole design is shifted, broad strike, the rim looks extra wide and flat, clipped planchet, a bite taken out of the edge. If you see any of those, your heart rate should be picking up about now. Take clear photos of both sides, contact a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC, mail it insured and tracked. Wait for your grading results. If it comes back at MS68 or higher, or if it has a major error, you might be fielding offers that make your head spin. Let's wrap up this section by talking about why people will pay seven figures for a quarter. Some folks collect art, some collect cars, and some collect coins. Wealthy collectors are constantly competing to own the rarest, most pristine pieces of history. For them, owning a unique 1994 P quarter is like owning a piece of American treasure, an investment and a bragging right all in one. And that's why the demand stays high, and the value keeps climbing. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You now know more about the 1994 P Washington quarter than 99% of people on the planet. Check your coins for the date 1994 and the P mint mark. Look for errors in mint condition. Don't rush to spend your coins before you've inspected them. If you find one, get it graded professionally. Imagine how your life could change if you find $1 million coin in your dresser. That's a pretty good reason to start digging through your spare change. Before you go, if you enjoyed this video and want more tips about rare coins, hidden treasures, and how to spot life-changing money hiding in plain sight, hit that subscribe button. Tap the bell so you never miss an episode. And give this video a thumbs up, it helps us keep bringing you these guides. Thanks for hanging out with me. Now go check your quarters. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next person to email me with a photo of your $1 million find. Hey there, treasure hunters and couch coin collectors. Let me ask you something. When's the last time you actually looked at the spare change rattling around in your car's cup holder? Or the pile of quarters you toss on your nightstand after grocery shopping? Well, buckle up, because today we're talking about a coin that could be hiding in plain sight, and it's worth a jaw-dropping $1.2 million. That's right. A single little 1999 D Connecticut quarter dollar. That small chunk of metal you probably used for a vending machine snack in 2002 could be your ticket to a life of luxury. Stick around because over the next 50 minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly why this coin is so valuable, how you can tell if you've got one, and what you should do if you find it. And yes, I'm going to share a story about the time I almost spent a rare coin on a pack of gum. Talk about heartbreak. So grab a coffee, maybe a magnifying glass, and let's get into it. Let's rewind the clock to 1999. Some of you were probably blasting CDs in your car, others were buying their first cell phones the size of a brick. The US Mint kicked off the 50-state quarters program that year, releasing 5 special designs annually for each state. Connecticut's quarter was the last one minted in 1999, showing off the famous charter oak tree. Marked by that little D under the word Liberty, pumped out millions of these quarters. But here's the catch, not all of them are created equal. Some Connecticut quarters have extremely rare die errors, minting mistakes, or unique characteristics that make collectors practically drool. And those special coins? That's where the $1.2 million comes in. Imagine a regular quarter turning into a mansion-sized payday. Crazy, right? But it happens. You're probably wondering, what could possibly make a 25-cent coin worth more than a Ferrari? Well, let me break it down for you in plain English. Some of these coins have striking errors, like doubled dies, off-center strikes, or extra metal in certain spots. The most famous Connecticut quarter error is a doubled die reverse, where the charter oak details are slightly doubled, creating a ghost-like outline. A coin in pristine condition, what collectors call mint state, can multiply the value by thousands. If yours has never been circulated, never been dropped, and never been scratched, congratulations, you're already halfway to the big bucks. There are coins struck on the wrong metal planchet. Imagine a quarter minted on a nickel blank, super rare, super valuable. Add all these up and you have a one-of-a-kind specimen worth a cool $1.20 million. Alright, time to get practical. Here's exactly how you can tell if you have a 1999 D Connecticut quarter that's worth serious money. Look for the mint mark. Flip the coin to George Washington's face. Just to the right of his ponytail, you'll see a tiny D. That means Denver Mint. Examine the reverse. That's the back with the charter oak tree. Use a magnifier or even the zoom on your smartphone. Check if the lines of the tree trunk look doubled or blurred. That could be the doubled die error. Or is the design slightly off-center? An off-center strike can skyrocket value. Check the metal. If the color seems different or the weight feels odd, it might be struck on the wrong planchet. If your quarter ticks any of these boxes, don't rush to spend it on laundry. Let me tell you about the time I almost lost a fortune to a vending machine. Years ago, I had a jar of change on my kitchen counter. One morning, half asleep and desperate for a snack, I scooped up a handful of coins. As I was about to shove them into a machine for a candy bar, my neighbor, big coin collector, walked by and said, "Hey, hold on. That quarter looks weird." I almost laughed it off, but he insisted. Turns out, it was a rare error coin. Not this Connecticut quarter, but a valuable bicentennial one. Sold it later for a few $1,000s. Always look twice before you feed coins to the snack gods. Heritage auctions and Stacksbauers are two of the biggest. They handle high-end coins and can get you top dollar. Certified numismatic dealers can appraise and buy your coin. Make sure they're members of the American Numismatic Association. eBay is an option, but you need to be careful, there are scammers. Always get your coin certified by PCGS or NGC first. If you discover you're sitting on a jackpot coin, don't just toss it in a drawer or, worse, clean it with baking soda. That can destroy the value. Use a coin flip or capsule to protect it from scratches. Keep it in a dry, temperature-controlled place. Avoid touching the face. Oils from your skin can tarnish it. Over 1.3 billion were minted across Philadelphia and Denver. The charter oak on the back was a symbol of freedom. Colonists hid the royal charter there in 1687. A pristine, error-free 1999 D Connecticut quarter in mint state condition can still fetch several $100s. Those are the unicorns, ultra-rare, but out there. You're not alone in this treasure hunt. Since the pandemic, more people than ever have turned to coin collecting. It's relaxing, fun, and if you get lucky, profitable. It's also a great hobby to pass down. I started collecting coins with my grandfather, and now, every time I see a quarter, I remember sitting at his kitchen table, sorting through change. Alright, my fellow coin enthusiasts, we've covered a lot of ground. From the history of the 1999 D Connecticut quarter to exactly why it can be worth $1.2 million, and how you can find one yourself before you dash off to dig through your couch cushions. Remember, treasure is often hiding in plain sight. So be the person who checks their change. Be the one who looks a little closer. Who knows? Your next grocery store quarter could change your life forever. If you enjoyed this video and you want more tips about rare coins, hidden gems, and smart strategies to turn your spare change into serious wealth, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss a chance to learn about coins worth real money. And if you've got a story about a coin you almost spent or one you found, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Hey there, coin hunters and treasure seekers. Let me ask you something. Have you ever thought the jangling change in your car cup holder could be worth over $1 million? Yeah, you heard that right. One little quarter, minted in 2001 with a tiny P mark, could have you sailing into early retirement, sipping fancy drinks on the beach, or finally buying the tricked-out RV you've been eyeing. Today, I'm going to spill all the details about the 2001 P North Carolina $quarter coin, why it's so valuable, what makes it special, how you can spot one, and most importantly, how you might already have one hiding somewhere in your life. I'm also going to share a personal story about how I almost spent a small fortune on a candy bar. So grab a comfy seat, maybe even grab your jar of loose change, because by the end of this video, you'll be ready to check every single quarter you owned. Let's dive in and see how this humble 25-cent piece turned into a $1.3 million prize. First, a little background to set the stage. The 2001 P North Carolina quarter was part of the United States Mint's 50-state quarters program. You might remember these from the early 2000s. They rolled out 5 new quarters every year to celebrate each state's history and culture. North Carolina's design is all about flight. The back shows the Wright brothers' famous first flight at Kitty Hawk. If you look closely, you'll see the little plane soaring over the word first flight. Pretty fitting for a coin that could lift your bank account into the stratosphere, but here's the kicker. Not every 2001 North Carolina quarter is special. In fact, most of them are worth, well, a quarter. What you want to look for is the Philadelphia Mint mark, the little P on the front side just under "In God We Trust," and some very specific errors or conditions that make collectors' hearts race. There are a few reasons. First, mintage errors. Some of these coins were struck on experimental planchets, that's the blank metal disc before the design is pressed on. These planchets were made of different alloys, giving the coin a unique color, weight, or finish. Second, die errors. You might see double strikes, off-center designs, or even missing details in the images. One of the most valuable known examples has a dramatic misalignment that makes the plane look like it's crash landing. Third, pristine condition. Collectors call this MS68 or MS69, mint state, nearly perfect, untouched by human hands. These coins often come straight from mint sets or sealed rolls. Finally, there's the demand factor. A handful of elite collectors have been driving up prices for these rare error coins. In a high-profile auction, one perfect 2001 North Carolina quarter sold for a whopping $1.3 million, setting a record that still makes headlines. Alright, let's break down exactly what to look for when you start digging through your jars, pockets, and old sock drawers. Look for the mint mark P under "In God We Trust" on the front. No P? Keep moving. Off-center strikes, doubling of letters or images, missing elements, or strange textures. Check the coin's weight if you have a precise scale. Some error coins weigh slightly less or more. Examine the luster. A coin in pristine mint state has a bright, glassy surface. Consider professional grading. If you think you've got something special, get it authenticated by PCGS or NGC. How I almost lost a fortune on a candy bar. Let me tell you about the time I almost handed a $10,000 coin to a vending machine. About 10 years ago, I had this jar of change I kept on my desk. One day, I decided to raid it for a snack. I dumped it out, scooped up a handful of quarters, and walked over to the vending machine. Right before I fed the coins into the slot, something caught my eye: a North Carolina quarter with the P mint mark. I noticed it looked a little different. The edges were smooth, the strike was slightly off-center, and the design looked thicker somehow. I shrugged and thought, probably nothing. But just before I hit the button for a Snickers bar, I thought, you know what, maybe I should check this one out. Long story short, I had it appraised. While it wasn't the $1 million jackpot, it ended up being worth several $1,000s because of a rare die error. Imagine if I traded that coin for a 99-cent candy bar. Talk about the most expensive snack of my life. Never underestimate the power of pocket change. If you're serious about finding these hidden treasures, here are a few strategies to stack the odds in your favor. Search old rolls from the bank. Tell your teller you want boxes of quarters. It's cheap entertainment and sometimes pays off big. Hit up estate sales and flea markets. Older collections often show up where you least expect them. Join coin collecting groups. Networking helps you learn what's out there and how to spot fakes. Invest in a magnifying glass and a good scale. These tools are your best friends. Always store valuable finds safely. Coin flips, sleeves, or protective holders keep them in top shape. As of right now, July 2025, the 2001 North Carolina quarter with known high-grade errors and MS68 or above grading can fetch between $500,000 and $1.3 million at major auctions. Even lesser error coins can still sell for a few $1,000s, depending on rarity and demand. This isn't speculation. These prices are backed up by recent heritage auctions and Stacksbauer's records. So if you think you've got one, do not let it out of your sight until you get it certified. That little 2001 North Carolina quarter in your drawer could be your ticket to financial freedom. Remember to check for the P mint mark, look for mintage errors and die variations, and keep an eye out for coins in mint condition. And if you ever doubt whether a quarter is worth your time, think about my almost $1 million vending machine story. If you found this video helpful or even just entertaining, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, and share it with a friend who could use some extra cash in their life. And if you want more insider tips on coins worth serious money and strategies to turn your spare change into wealth, stay tuned right here. We've got a lot more treasures to uncover together. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Now go check your quarters. Your $1 million moment could be just one coin away. Where loose change could mean big change for your bank account. Imagine digging through your junk drawer or flipping through that old coin jar and finding something worth more than your car, your house, maybe even your entire retirement plan. Sounds crazy, right? Well, today, we're talking about a 1990 North Carolina quarter. Yup, a plain old 25-cent piece that, wait for it, has a jaw-dropping market value of $1.4 million. Yes, you heard that right. One coin. One state. One little P mint mark. And a whole lot of value. So sit back, grab a snack, and get comfy. Because over the next 50 minutes, I'm gonna walk you through everything you need to know about this unbelievable coin. We're diving into history, design, minting quirks, error varieties, and what makes this baby worth more than most folks' lifetime savings. Stick around to the end because I'll also share a personal story that'll hit home for anyone who ever tossed a coin into a gas station tip jar without thinking. And trust me, you'll want to double-check your change after this one. Alright, let's kick this off with the basics. The 1990p Washington quarter was part of the regular coinage, nothing fancy at first glance. It came out during a time when coin collecting wasn't quite the hot trend it is now. Most people weren't even checking their change, or the P Mint mark stands for the Philadelphia Mint. And back in 1990, they struck hundreds of millions of these things. So how can a coin this common become worth over $1 million? But before we get into that juicy detail, let's talk about the design. The obverse has the familiar profile of George Washington, first president and coin superstar. He's been staring off into the distance since 1932 like he's waiting for Uber Eats. The reverse? Well, here's where things get interesting. Normally, 1990 quarters didn't have state-specific reverse designs. The state quarters program didn't start until 1999. So any claim of a 1990 North Carolina quarter has to come with some context. Most likely, we're dealing with a mint error, a mule coin, or a misstrike that ended up connecting North Carolina design elements with a 1990p quarter structure, and those are insanely rare now. Let's talk about the secret sauce behind this coin's insane value. The $1.4 million price tag isn't just because it's old. It's not even about condition alone, though that certainly matters. It's about error variety. This particular 1990p quarter is a mule error coin. That means it features the obverse of a regular 1990p Washington quarter, but the reverse side was accidentally struck with the die of a North Carolina state quarter, which wasn't even supposed to exist for another 9 years. Well, the US Mint doesn't exactly like to talk about it, but every now and then, a die from one coin gets used with the wrong one, kind of like putting ketchup on pancakes. Doesn't make sense, but it happens. Only a handful of these mules have ever surfaced. And collectors go bananas over them because they're one-of-a-kind mistakes. Combine that with pristine condition, strong luster, and a perfect strike, and boom, you've got yourself a coin worth 7 figures. Time to talk about coin grading. If you want to sell for big bucks, your quarter has to be in mint state, preferably MS67 or above. That means sharp edges, clear detail, minimal contact marks, and full original shine. Coin grading is like wine tasting, it's subjective, but there's a method to the madness. Third-party companies like PCGS and NGC are your go-to graders. They'll examine your coin under magnification, assess wear, and slap on an official grade. That one little label can be the difference between a $25 curiosity and a $1.4 million treasure. So handle with gloves, store it in a protective case, and whatever you do, do not clean it. I repeat, do not clean it. That's like sanding down the Mona Lisa to make her shinier. People have found rare coins at garage sales, flea markets, estate sales, and inside rolls of coins from the bank. I once heard about a guy who found a valuable error quarter wedged between his car seat cushions. He was just looking for a French F or Y. So if you're handling 1990 quarters, check for mismatched designs, strange fonts, off-center strikes, or anything that just looks off. And look closely at the reverse. If it features the North Carolina state design, you might have a rare mule. Welcome to the wild world of high-end coin auctions. Big-time collectors, museums, and wealthy investors compete for these rarities like they're bidding on a Van Gogh painting. This 1990p mule quarter was auctioned off at one of the top houses, possibly Heritage or Stacksbauer's. The bidding war was intense, and the final hammer price landed just under $1.4 million. It wasn't even the seller's main job. He was just a guy who liked coins, found something odd, got it graded, and changed his life forever. There's real money in this. If you know what to look for, you could be next. Alright, now let me tell you something personal. Back in 2005, I had this plastic jug full of quarters I used for laundry. One day, I was short on gas money, so I dumped the whole thing into a Coinstar machine. No second thoughts. Years later, when I got into coin collecting, I realized something horrifying. It had several 1990p quarters. And one of them, I swear, had the weirdest back design I'd ever seen. At the time, I thought it was just worn out. But now, I'm convinced I gave away a mule worth over $1 million for the price of a tank of gas and a Gatorade. Never underestimate your spare change. And for heaven's sake, look before you cash in. On the 1990p North Carolina mule quarter isn't just rare, it's legendary. A mistake turned $1 million masterpiece. And it could be hiding in plain sight, just waiting for someone like you to spot it. It's the ultimate underdog story in the coin world. A reminder that sometimes, even your pocket change can change your entire life. Go grab that old jar of coins. Search through those dusty drawers. Ask your grandma if you can look through her coffee can of change, because if that $1 million quarter is out there, someone's gonna find it. Might as well be you, and if you found this video helpful or entertaining, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications so you never miss a tip that could make you richer than your neighbor's dentist. Drop a comment if you've got a 1990 quarter or any other coin that looks suspiciously unique. I'd love to hear your story, and who knows, we might feature it in a future video.